I decided to see what would happen if I actually reached the finish line. No alarm clocks screaming at 6 in the morning. I had no schedule, no rules, and no expectations. I need to explain the rules of the experiment. The first rule was the elimination of the clock. I woke up whenever my body decided to. If I had to choose between reading a book or watching mindless YouTube shorts, I had to choose the shorts. I looked at people posting their 5 a.m. morning routines on Instagram and just laughed. If I had a choice between a healthy home-cooked meal and a bag of chips that was already open, I had to choose the chips. I spent my afternoons in a state of total, unadulterated hedonism. The high of total freedom started to taste a little bit like cardboard. When you have no schedule, time begins to lose its shape. Morning, afternoon, and night started to bleed into one another. Watching a movie didn't feel like a reward anymore because I hadn't done anything to earn it. I was living in a world of constant, lukewarm comfort, and it was starting to feel suffocating. This was a thick, heavy blanket over my entire consciousness. I found myself staring at the wall for 20 minutes at a time, not thinking about anything. Even simple things, like taking a shower or brushing my teeth, started to feel like monumental tasks. Willpower is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it atrophies at an alarming rate. My ability to say no to anything had completely vanished. I was a passenger in my own body, driven by the lowest common denominator of my desires. When you remove all the hard things, the easy things eventually become hard. I was scrolling through social media, not because I was interested, but because I didn't have the strength to stop. I was eating junk food not because it tasted good, but because it was there. I'd look in the mirror and barely recognize the person looking back. There was no fire in my eyes, no spark of interest in the world. I was living in a sensory deprivation chamber of my own making. By day 14, I felt like a ghost. Your anxiety becomes existential. It's a floating, nameless dread that attaches itself to everything. I couldn't do anything to alleviate those worries. My brain, deprived of any real problems to solve, started creating fake ones. I was trapped in a loop of negative thought patterns. With no exit ramp, I just had to sit there and marinate in my own fear. We are biological machines built to overcome obstacles. When you remove the obstacles, the machine starts to tear itself apart. By constantly hitting my brain with easy dopamine from food and screens, I had fried my receptors. I remember standing in my kitchen on day 25, looking at a pile of dirty dishes. I spent an hour scrubbing those plates with more focus than I've ever given to a multi-million-dollar project. For the first time in nearly a month, I felt a tiny flicker of satisfaction. That was the turning point. I realized that the nightmare wasn't the lack of things to do. It was the lack of who I was becoming. I woke up at 5 in the morning, went for a 5-mile run in the freezing rain, and then took a cold shower. The physical discomfort of the run made the warmth of my coffee feel like a miracle. The mental strain of getting back to work made the evening's rest feel like a hard-earned victory. It was objectively harder than anything I had done in the previous month, and I have never felt more alive. There is a massive difference between rest and escape. Embrace the friction. Seek out the things that make you a little bit uncomfortable. You need the mountains to appreciate the valleys. Stop looking for the shortcut or the easiest path. Until next time, go do something difficult. You'll thank yourself later.